Good day, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of 3.0, where we discuss about the Web3, everything that's happening in the Web3 in the ecosystem with different entrepreneurs and people and developers and everyone who is working in the industry to make it a better place, a better internet, you could say. So today we are going to talk about, as the topic suggests, security in the Web3 space. And for that, I have a guest with me, Mr. Jaziruddin. Many people know him from Blockship as he was a mentor for the Blockship blockchain bootcamp as well. And he works at BlockApex, securing smart contracts and stuff. So, hello, Jarir.
Hey Aram, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you? How's everything at BlockApex?
Yeah, it's been great this quarter, and yeah, really nice, smooth stuff going on. You know, usual business stuff, audits and security and CTFs.
So, Jay, if you could start off with telling a little about your background, a little about yourself.
I am a recent graduate of software engineering from Karachi University, and about blockchain, I would like to tell people about this. In fact, I've been telling people about this on different platforms through Blockship and when I visited the UBID for seminar as well. So it all started with the final year project for me, where we had to build a project, in any kind of field, and my team decided to go with the blockchain. So initially started, we all started with Hyperledger Fabric, but around July, we personally I moved on to Ethereum, and because there's a bit of a larger scope and basic difference of public and private blockchains. So since then, it has been a really great ride that I've been on, and learning. There's so much to learn in Web3 and blockchain, and talking about the blockchain. In fact, I joined the Blockship summer camp as well in August. That happened last year.
Yeah, that
So
was the, you could say, the old Blockship because it was an internship program named Blockship.
yeah. That was the first thing that actually happened in Karachi as well. So it was really exciting for me to be a part of that program as well. And since then, I've been actively working with blockchain, and I've also been giving some tuitions, and there's a general thing about me and education and teaching stuff. So I really like to deliver what I have learned. So I would say that same thing goes here in blockchain as well. And Abdul Sami Javed, he has been a classmate, and he has almost worked since the starting from for Exort. So it was around August, mid-August, that he suggested that I should be working with Exort as well. So since then, I started preparing for interview, and here I am, almost 10 months later, working at Block Apex.
Great. Abdul Sami Javed has been a great resource as well in all the technical stuff and bringing people in. So that's
True.
one good thing about it. So, Jerry, let's start off with very basics. Before we go deep into the security perspective, let's just start off with the first question in mind that what is this Web3 security and why is it needed?
So basically, let me make out a clear comparison between the Web 2 version of security. What is the concept of digital security compared to the concept of security and transparency in Web 3? So it all started, when there were different kinds of cybersecurity concept that the data should be protected and it needs protection, which was a kind of old concept in Web 2.
Hmm.
So after moving on with the different sort of ideas in Web 2 with the data identity, because profiling was the most important stuff, and in terms of security. So when we talk about identity, we actually are talking about the safety of each individual user on the data, on the Web 2 specifically, if we talk about that. Concerning that same concept, when we translate it into Web3, the basic difference comes here that each user has their anonymity saved. Now, this anonymous use case can be a double-edged sword. I will quote Certic here that this identity hiding of identity on Web3 is actually a double-edged sword in terms of Web3 security. So here, users can, in fact, create different kinds of addresses, and there could be only a single user behind all of those multiple addresses, and still they will be safe, their data will be safe, and their every kind of interaction with the public internet or the Web3, the decentralized web, will be safe. But at the same time, these hackers or adversaries, people with malintent, can utilize the same resources, the same idea, the same concepts, and hide behind these multiple numbers or hexagraphic, hexalogical kind of stuff.
Okay.
So these addresses actually work on the both sides. So this security concepts actually translate the basic needs of transparency as well. They give the transparency of data. There is a risk involved in that transparency as well. Then they also provide the decentralization, which comes with the risk of centralization. So if we talk about every feature of Web3, there is a security version for each feature there.
So, when you say that hackers are most, it's a two-edged sword, that people who can create multiple addresses as well, and hackers as well could use this opportunity to create themselves many faces. To sum it up, is that right?
Yeah, that's true. That's entirely true. That if I am creating multiple addresses for different kinds of blockchains or even single chain, but using different accounts, the same could be done for hacker, and they can replicate the money or the value hidden behind those addresses, while being a single entity behind all of these addresses.
So, any examples that you could quote, like you said that Certic said that it's a double-edged sword. So, have there been any hacks like these?
Yeah, I would say that almost a uh, I don't have a actual research number behind that, but I am sure that there must be around 30 or 40% of the total hacks that have ever happened, that contain people. They are mostly hackers that hack some kind of value or money. Then they go through these applications called mixers. The most famous one is the Tornado Cash, and what they do is basically use a single address to send the money inside, and the application actually mixes all the money, and they can receive the same value of money through different addresses. And behind all of these operations is just single person, that is basically the hacker. So I would say that around 30 or 40% of hackers, but I would say that you can actually increase this percent to 60% as well. That they every hacker who hacks some protocol, their next step is Tornado Cache. They use this multiple the concept of multiple addresses, and they just escape through these addresses.
Hmm, okay. So the this tornado crash, am I saying it right? Tornado crash
Tornado
is
Cache.
cash.
Cache.
Okay, is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
type of attack, you could say.
No, Tornado Cache is actually a protocol. It's same thing, double-edged protocol. A user could come in with their $1 million or 1 million USD,
Hmm.
USDC, any kind of tokens,
Hmm.
and with one address, and the same user can withdraw the amount in if I deposit, let's say I deposit 1 million, then I can withdraw 1 million in one go, or I can withdraw 100,000 in 10 times, or 10,000 100 times. So it depends on me that how I withdraw the money. And the most important, the most exciting feature is I can withdraw with different addresses. Now that is where the concept of safety it comes in, and the anonymity is used as for the hackers favor here.
Why do you think that security is crucial for this decentralized world? Like you said, that many hackers could create different addresses, but still, if projects knew that this something like this can happen, while it's still crucial for an auditor to be present while making a smart contract.
So there are different scenarios where this critical sections come in and play their roles. So it's basically that we learn about the different value at stake. So first of all, we judge or weigh any protocol in terms of value or the amount of money they hold, then we kind of play the adversary's role. As auditors, we create this criticality within a protocol, within the decentralized ecosystem, that any protocol handling or holding some xyz amount of large money, that is could appear in the eyes of any hacker, should appear in the eyes of hacker. And there's a basic rule that anything that can be hacked will be hacked. So that motto actually becomes really crucial in this ecosystem of Web3, along with the dApps and different protocols that handle all these money. And talking about this criticality here, I would say that each project here needs to be fortified, needs to be audited completely, but still there is always different kinds of perspectives or different kinds of approaches that any hacker could utilize and still get out with the money.
So, if we talk about hacking, and then those are people that do it for a personal level. But if we talk about security auditors and stuff in the Web3 space, I myself haven't seen many. Like I've seen from the people from Blockip, I've seen people from Hacking, and one and more, two more companies. That's it. So, with the demand that is in, is there a supply that must supply?
Yeah, that's a really good question. That actually, there's not much supply for auditors. In fact, the quality of audit is really, questionable also as well. So this is a really, I would say, uh, so and so kind of industry where top-notch auditors and white-hat security researchers have completely taken out the audit field. And there are you took some names like Hexons or Hackens. There are some companies that, if we talk about them, in fact talk about Certec, I recently heard about them that they offer some XYZ protocol wanted to have the auditor done, have their code audited by a Certec. So they gave the protocol the date for almost 2 years late. So I would say that the supply is really, really low. If you want an audit done by top-notch companies like Certec or Sortora or these kinds of companies, they will be asking you to come for around 2 years later or 1.5 year later and have your protocol audited. So if this is a kind of industry, then I would say there is a really great chance to cybersecurity engineers to just keep up with the Web3 system and learn blockchain as soon as possible, and just dive into these high paying jobs. And you know uh, there's another feature to that as well, the concept of bug bounties. I would like to create a clear cut comparison between the Web 2 bug bounties and the Web 3 bug bounties. So there's a basic difference. The max cap in the bug bounties in Web 2 is 100,000. From what I have learned from different resources and different speakers saying these in the different platforms. But on Web3, if we talk about payouts or bug bounties that the white hat hackers or security researchers gets, it's almost beginning of 100,000. That's a really different scenario or different pay scale if we talk about bug bounties in this Web3 or payouts, the concept of payouts in Web3.
That would, so the people listening to this podcast and to the freshers who have just entered the Web3 space, Jiri said that the security jobs are right now much in demand and the supply is very low. So this is something for the people who don't want to code, I guess, could also turn towards shift towards the security side.
Yeah, I would say that that's a really good point.
So Jareer, could you tell about some of the methodologies that are currently used in the security for in the blockchains and stuff?
Yeah, let's talk about the methodologies as well. That's the basic question from you could ask from any auditor out there, because there's a basic idea that we follow here in audit. I actually we kind of there's an insider thing, but we kind of give interviews to different firms that are auditing or hiring for auditors, and we kind of test the waters, what is going on with the industry. So in the recent interviews that I gave a couple of months back, so the basic methodology, the basic question is about what methodology do you follow. So that same question I will answer here as well, that the methodology is about bringing the concepts of web 2 cybersecurity and merging them with a couple of things from web 3. The first thing will be the knowledge of DeFi. An extensive knowledge of DeFi is really necessary uh, for an absolute kind of methodology you will have to follow while auditing any kind of protocol. And the second thing in web 3 will be an extensive knowledge of how EVM or how kind of languages or compilers work in the Ethereum virtual machine. So these three things make up a really great sense of audit. And when you look up a protocol that's came to you for audit, you will literally just apply a combo or a mixture of these three aspects of knowledge, and you'll start auditing. So talking about methodology, one thing I'd like to mention here, that there's a basic sense of security in computer science or in software engineering. I would like to tell a story about this. It's a short story.
Yeah, yeah,
so
sure, sure, sure.
so yeah, it happened in our sixth or seventh semester. There was a course of network security, and our teacher asked if there's a mountain of gold present in any XYZ land, how would you secure it? So there were he just asked the question randomly, and there were different kinds of answers. Each student has their own had their own perspective.
Mm,
So he at the end, he just compiled all these answers, and he started breaking each of these security perspective of each student. And at the end, there were almost like 30 or 40 answers for each, for securing that mountain of gold, but he just broke through all of them. So at the end, he just concluded that security means that you keep on adding and adding different kinds of barriers, different kinds of just protective shields to the actual value that is stored in anything. You do not guarantee security 100%. You can never guarantee a security for 100%. That is the basic idea. If someone is new to cybersecurity as well, I would like to tell them that for security, you just need a mindset that is really kind of expandable, I would say. And the second thing I would say, that a mindset that is flexible. You can wear multiple hats at one time, and you have different perspectives. You are actually able to absorb different perspectives. If a person thinks differently from you, you do not argue, but you actually try to understand what
mm.
their perspective could be. So that thing really helps here in this scenario. Because an adversary could think anything, and you cannot stop a hacker to think. You cannot stop them from thinking any kind of thing to break your protocol. You just need to start thinking from their perspective, from their side as well.
Okay, so Jadir, if you could tell us about some of the tools or things that are used, like if I talk about marketing, there are many different tools, right? And there is a certain tech stack that we should know to go for the job. So if I talk about a security auditor, so what is the tech stack that he or she could use for this security in the blockchain space?
Yeah, it's pretty much straightforward. If we use the general tools of from what they use for developing these protocols, there's one thing that we use for solidity audits, that's basically known as the Slither tool. It's a
Mm,
really great tool for static analysis. We use this for uh, just as a starter or as an appetizer for each and every protocol. We use Slither, that is written on for each protocol that is written on EVM. We use Slither. We just start with Slither and move on with different kinds of techniques of audits. So there's hard hat that we use for writing test cases or testing out different edge cases as well. And then there's Foundry from Paradigm partner. uh, I think Georges, his name is Georges. Yeah, that's a really great tool. I would advise anyone who is uh, working on developing as well, I would say that it really helps for developers as well. So there's the tool named Foundry, and yeah, pretty much that's all that we actually utilize. If we move on to the different kinds of extensive things in audit, there comes the fuzzing, where we use Echidna. That's a tool made by Certic. uh,
Mm.
yeah, so that is a really great tool for fuzzing, and you just laid out some properties, and it gives you different kinds of answers that uh, your code should break on these answers. So that's a really kind of a summarized thing that I just told you about fuzzing. It's actually
Mm.
not that, but for the sake of the audience, I would just sum it up like that.
Okay, so Jareer, I have a very, kind of a question in mind that is bugging me a lot. That if you guys, the security people who are, looking at the code and stuff, you know that this protocol or this contract is hackable. So what kind of thing, what approaches stop you from hacking the protocol itself and, instead working for the security side?
Yeah, that's a really cool question. In fact, most of the industry just there's a thin gray area where people just stumble on the way. If they fall, they are black hat hackers, and they are banned for their lives. And the addresses are they just keep on running. They just keep on
Yeah.
running for the rest of their lives. That's the concept of Web 2. In Web 3, you're safe for some moment, but if you get caught, there's a lot of backlash or that stuff. So back to your question. So there is a concept of white hat payout that kind of keeps you in the limelight. Both the things, if the payout, let's say talk about the poly network hack that went for $600 million. That is
Mm.
one big number of money. If we
Yeah.
talk about millions of dollars, in fact, that is one of the greatest hack of all time. And the hacker was kind of teasing with the money. They were just sending out messages through contracts and through different transactions on Ethereum, and they were just playing in this gray area that should they take money, or should they take the bounty for that money. And in the end, it was decided that they will be taking the money, and they still are anonymous to this day. But no one knows their identity. So the idea is that there's a very thin area how one decides to stay white hat. If we talk about Samson, he's the greatest of all time security researcher, very top class, and
Yeah.
superman kind of stuff in
Yeah.
Web3 security. So the guy is working like that. He founds different kinds of, he has written so many stories here. I have read his almost 5 or 6 stories, saving numbers around 350 or 90 million or 150 million. These kind of numbers come through, and he's always going through saving them, and telling the firm that there's an exploit and an exploitable code or a bug in your code that should be saved. And he's contacting the firms, and he's sending messages like you up or stuff. So
Mm.
it's really exciting that these white hat security researchers actually tell the company and do not go away with the money. In fact, even though they have the opportunity to escape with the money, but they still opt to inform the firm about saving the code and saving the people's value as well. So the firm pays them out really greatly, and there's a double, I would say, double benefit for this thing. You
Mm.
actually paid out pretty much, yeah, not equivalent to the bug you will find, but still the firms will pay out you a, a really good amount. And the second thing is that the praise and the limelight a whitehead security researcher gets when they find out some really great uh, bug, and they write it about it, and they just become famous for that. It's really cool. I would say these two things should keep a person in the white area, and not
Okay,
move
so
them.
you could either be the Superman from DC, or either you can be Homelander from the boys. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
same powers, just a mindset that's who wants to stay evil and who wants to stay good.
Same power, same, exactly
Okay,
same.
okay, that I get it, totally get it. So Jerry, if moving forward, you have seen that recently blockchain hacks have drastically increased as hackers have discovered that vulnerabilities in fact exist. Public data shows that hackers have stolen around billions of dollars in blockchain. Considering such events at a greater frequency, one can argue on the security and scalability of the blockchain and Web3 technology. How would you defend such arguments, being a representative and a security auditor in the Web3 space?
Good question. Very, deep thought there is present behind this. So I would connect it with the same idea when the birth of internet happened. So it all links back to the same things. Whenever the cycle of innovation goes on, there is a questionable moment that whether the thing in a perspective would last or not. This question is a really deciding question that it leads to a fork in the history. Whenever there is some point where the history moves on to a different era or a different phase, there comes the choice whether to move on with the futuristic mindset, or with the I would say conventional mindset or conservatory mindset that the thing or any kind of innovation will not or should not last. These kind of things or these kind of perspectives actually make the the greatness of that period. And I
Mm,
would like to mention at this at point that currently we are going through the same phase as well. This time the Web3, even though there's a bear market going, there's a uh, what do you call a really dark time for crypto market as well. There are hacks happening and millions of dollars of people are nearly lost. And
mm.
some people are getting rich, most people are getting poor through these and losing money. But still I would say that a futuristic mindset guarantees that anyone who stays in this space and who keeps up with the movements and the ups and downs of crypto, specifically Web3 and every kind of field, they will be like working. It would be saying same that if Google started and they question Google that you are doing whatever you are doing is wrong, or you should not do it, or the first search engine, I don't know whether it was Yahoo or what. But still, if anyone questioned that search engines would not work in the future, or you should not start Google search engine, then should I stop and should I just wrap up the work, or should I just keep moving? That is a question that is still asked today. And I think I should keep moving. What can I lose if I keep working on Web3? What can I lose? I can lose some money, but still there's no a concept of losing on with the technology. There is no
Mm,
risk for there is nothing at stake here, not much that you can lose. If there is a issue, you can move on to the back to web 2, which is which you can say that there would be some more of lessons learned. But I think at this point it is really hard for it would be an kind of uh, wrong thing to move back to web 2 or stuff. So I would say the dark times are still going through. And one quote that my senior said uh, around a couple of months when the bear market started, he said that I don't know actual quote, but he said that this time will actually filter out the all
good
the
projects and stuff. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
temporary people that
Mm.
that actually just came for the mundane glamour of web3 and just trading for crypto. But the actual projects and the actual deliverable value that is stored in the web3 will remain here while these times are over.
Yeah, in the previous podcast as well, Zain Rana, the founder of Daffy, he came along and talked about DeFi tokenomics, and even he said that this time, the bearish time is the time where new innovations are at their peaks. Like many great projects came out previously in the bearish market as well, and what the people right now are expecting the same to happen, because now the ecosystem has gone even bigger in these previous, you could say, 8 to 10 months. And
That's
even
true.
the projects that have started previously, and they had little faults in them. If I talk about the Luna crash and stuff, so they had just a little fault in the tokenomics and stuff, and the bear market just washed them out totally. So now people are understanding more important things, that it's not just that you make a ERC20 token and then you start up your own project. It's something that, it is to be done properly.
That's true. That's really great point.
Okay, so when we talked about the hacks previously, yeah, you didn't mention one of the hacks that happened recently. That was an optimism hack, right? I was the sole witness. No, not the sole witness. I saw that happening in front of my eyes, and I was sitting with Abdul Sami Javed, as you mentioned before, and Shakim and everyone, and it happened right in front of us, and we were just seeing everything happen. So one of the hacks that happened previously is Optimism Hack. So it was thought to have resulted from the technical oversight, making Wintermute more vulnerable to hacking. So how do you see this incident? What security measures do you believe should be taken in order to avoid them?
Optimism hack, I would say that that is a pure humanoid hack.
Mm,
uh, this actually represents the true input of what a human can do and should not do or should do. That is a different debate, but the point is humans make mistake, and this mistake needs to be handled aforehand by the code. We need to make sure, as auditor, as security researchers, that the code should not do any kind of bad thing or unexpected thing or even handle the humanoid errors. But there comes a point in this specific Wintermute and Optimism hack that there are things that you just can't stop. You know, the code has a boundary where a humanoid input or interaction is expected, but outside those boundaries there is nothing the code can do. This hack actually happened like a simple way, in a simple way that if I want someone to send some money that is my money, and I need that money in my own bank account. Talking about Web 2, I should send them my own bank account. I should not be sending them
mm,
my friends or some others bank account if I have not confirmed it. And even though I am asking for a really large number of money, I should do one thing at least. I should confirm the receipt of transaction. That's a really a critical point. In fact, I would say that this is called a kind of what do they say in Urdu, that they call this laparwahi. So this is
mm,
actually this is actually kind of really vulnerable point, that how should you send someone a wrong address. And even though they tested this out, they first send a one op token to test out, then they send 1 million op tokens to test out whether the tokens were received. And even though after these test transactions, the Wintermute said that yeah, we received it, which is really bad thing, very bad practice. Confirmations are a really necessary point in Web3. We need
mm,
confirmations for each and every thing, because transactions are public, everything is public. So what's the point of not confirming? Like, it only should take a minute or two to confirm if a transaction happened or not. You just go to each Etherscan and just paste the address, your address you are supposed to receive the money, and you just check the latest transaction, whether it was done or not, or what kind of tokens it contains. That's all. So it should take a minute, and that should not be an issue. But still, we are humans, and we kind of make mistakes, I
Yeah,
would say.
that is the point. Like, if you told that confirmations should be done properly, but I would also add in that point that we are human, right? And if something happens to us, if, for example, if it's a child and something happens to your child, and the doctor says that he cannot walk anymore, and you won't accept that, even though you can see him cut off leg, see the report, see everything, but still for that 1 hour, 2 hour, you would not accept the fact that he cannot walk again. That's the human brain reacting to the information that it doesn't want. So yeah, we need to overcome this, but it is something that is in the human brain.
That's true. That's a really kind of dilemma that even though the action is perceived as acceptable, but the catastrophes that occur from those actions are unbearable,
Yeah.
or that are unacceptable truly.
Yeah.
In fact, I would like to add a similar kind of point. We were auditing a protocol, cannot disclose the name, but
Mm-hmm.
there happened an issue that there are some functions where you can for the time of deployment or for the initial time of protocol's launch, the contract or the protocol is run by some developers or some community, the developers community. And further, they plan on moving that community to a governance or a multi-sig address. So there are functions to do these things in smart contracts. And this same client of ours actually did this, that they kind of transferred all of this governance, or all of this authority to a zero address. So
Okay.
that was a really kind of a bad thing that happened in in this client's protocol. And they had to they started with they have started working with this protocol launch. But when they called this function with the zero address, they had to scratch all the previous contracts writings and readings. And they had to deploy a new contract, and then move on to move all the application, the front end, to that contract. So the consequences from these simple, or I would say really minimalistic mistakes, can be really large or great, I would say.
Hmm. Okay. So, Jareer, in the last, we are coming to an end to the podcast, and just I have this last question: that what are the key indicators of a secured and safe protocol or blockchain or bridge? You know.
That's a good question. I would like to add that starting from a point of view, that a blockchain protocol or a smart contract is still a piece of software, and every software needs some engineering. So if we talk about developing software, creating software, or maintaining software, we must understand the fact that producing this kind of software must be supported by uh, proper software engineering. There is a cycle of development, that is the software development life cycle, and that must be properly induced within the course of development of all complete project. If we talk about specific smart contracts or the protocols that handle a large amount of money, then there must be a number of audits. Auditors actually guarantee a set of eyes. If a developer develops something, they create kind of talk about an artist's picture or a painting. If they create a painting, they have a certain kind of bias towards it. They cannot actually they will not feel really happy if there's a critical critics pointing out different things in that painting. Same goes with the developer's code. They produce some kind of code, and the developer is really biased towards that code. And when an external third party or external set of eyes watches that code and finds some illogic or some kind of bad practice or malintent, they actually point it out. And that is the sole advantage of audit, that you actually hire an extra pair of eyes that go through your code and find out different kinds of issues. Or even though the point of audit is achieved here, there's still no guarantee, no 100% guarantee that the hacker won't find another kind of approach or attack factor to exploit through. this. I would like to add here as well another point that a simple smart contract is a safer one. If we try to introduce different kinds of complexity in the syntax or in the semantics of the code, it introduces a really could be a game changer. Happened with different kinds of hacks. I recently saw this hack. I don't know what the name was for the protocol, but they had multiple audits, and the developer did one thing. Before launching the protocol, they just added one extra function, and that function actually just destroyed all the smart contract. The hacker found that function to be vulnerable, and the exploit was hidden only in that function. Otherwise the contract was safe, which was actually audited by multiple teams. So still multiple audits could fail, and complexity could be an issue here. And one last thing I would like to mention here as well, that misassumptions. One great thing is misassumption, that if you assume something wrong, then the code is going to be developed wrongly, and it will be producing some uh, false results, or different kinds of uh, outputs or outcomes from whenever user interact. So if you have the value hold in a smart contract, then your assumptions must be really clear cut from documentations, or the white paper, or these kind of requirements.
Okay, that's quite a detailed answer, I would say, to the last question. So, coming to the end, that was a technical question. But if I talk about any advice, any mindset advice, anything that you personally learned from your mistake, or anything that you want to advise to the people who are listening to this podcast.
One thing that we advise to all the developers out there, not as in to security researchers or auditors, but to developers firstly, is that uh, they should not be keeping away from security. They could do this in web 2, but in web3, you need to be a part of the security cycle. You need to understand this design patterns. You need to implement the best practices and the secure software development life cycle in every kind of smart contract or project cycle you are implementing. This is not a third party work that could be performed in web3. This could be feasible in web 2, but there's no chance that a developer can assume every kind of securities responsibility to the auditor's shoulder, or this kind of stuff. This is a really critical point that a developer should assume. And along with that, there is a really a technical kind of point, that the importance of test cases is I would say wavering in these times. Developers don't actually write the test cases, or enough test cases to ensure security, or ensure the actual working of their projects, which I would like to advise at this point, that is really critical for each kind of Web3 protocols. And after the bear market, it becomes really uh, critical as well, more critical as well. That would be my advice for the devs as well. And for people learning, people working from for cybersecurity or moving into auditing, I would like to say that there are so much great resources, and you just need to one keep one thing in mind, that here, while auditing, we just keep ourselves open. We are really flexible in understanding the perspectives and changing the perspectives, not just fixing, or just uh, sticking to the conservations or conventional methods of security, but wearing multiple hats and moving along with the different perspectives. That would be my second advice to security researchers or auditors moving in Web3 security.
Okay, thank you, Jareed. So there it is, people. The podcast on secure Web3 security, and you heard it from the man himself, who himself works as a security auditor. So if you guys have any questions, make sure to ask them in the Blockship Discord channel. Jadeed is available over there, along with many people from Block Apex who are security auditors as well. They could all answer your concerns. And do like and subscribe to our channel, and follow us on Twitter, follow Jerry on Twitter, follow me on Twitter, so you could get the daily updates of 3.0 and everything that Block Apex or Jerry is doing right now. So thank you so much, Jerry, for being with us here with us today, and I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you, Ram, for having me.
Okay, okay, bye bye.